Hello and welcome back to My Mom's Basement, presented by Barstool Sports and 3Chi. We are here for the finale of part one of Stranger Things season four. This is called The Massacre at Hawkins Lab. It's episode 7. And this is an hour and 40-minute episode, Clem. This is basically a full Stranger Things movie. And could they land the plane? It's weird because it's almost like on a record back in the day. You would have to have a great song mid album to end side one, and a great
Hmm.
song to start part like side two, side B. And they really ended side A with a bang in this one. I thought this was phenomenal. And this was one where yesterday we said the episodes haven't felt as long as they are.
Yep.
When this was over, this did not feel like an hour and 40-minute movie.
I was fucking hyped when this was all over. It got me like re-excited about the first 6 episodes we had done before this, as well as this one. Got me hyped for part two. By the way, we've already enlisted Kevin Clancy to do a preview of part two. Maybe we'll get some more people at Barstool. I don't know. But this fucking season, or at least part one of this season, deserves every bit of hype it's gotten, is gonna get. They fucking crushed it, and this made every other episode that much better. My wife has gone back to watch like season one and just some random episodes because it's like made Stranger Things better. I think this season is
Yeah.
crushed so far, and I'm happy they split it up because I mean at this point, like I do not like that we have to wait for June to be over to get into it, the 4th of July weekend. But man, I don't know how you could like honestly just release a whole season and give us this many highlight reels. I think you almost need to just spread it out for like the fans' sake. It's so good. You need to fucking, it's like a good meal. Just fucking
Yeah.
enjoy it, cherish it. So I
Couldn't
was
agree
so
more.
hyped when it was over, man. I loved it. And I said, thank God we did these recaps because like if we hadn't done it, I'd be like, shit, now we have to go back and rewatch it all and take notes during it because it was fucking great. So bravo to the fucking Duffer Brothers, man. They fucking crushed it.
Amazing. And this puts Stranger Things into the echelon of like some of the greatest shows of our era, I would say. I
I think
honestly
so.
believe that.
Yeah, I think if obviously pending part two, but based on what
Yeah.
we saw at the end of part one, there's no reason to believe they're gonna do anything but crush it.
Now
Oh,
we
and by the way, Massacre, we see the Massacre at Hawkins Lab as the title, you're like, oh fuck. And
you're like, all right,
obviously
I guess
you
we're
know
gonna
what
see
they're
it
alluding
happen.
to. Yeah.
Yeah. We open in the Upside Down right after episode 6 concludes, where it's Steve finally getting his ass kicking scene on the season, where he's beating up these like bat spider things in the Upside Down, ripping them apart and everything. And it was pretty brutal. And he gets bit a couple times. And my first note was, I really hope those bat bites don't wind up being an issue for Steve. That's just a classic thing in sci fi. You get bit by an
Oh,
alien of any sort, and that is not a good sign.
Bob, I didn't even think about that. Oh no, he's definitely
Later on in the
infected or
episode,
some
it starts
shit.
like corroding. Remember when they look at it and it looks all nasty?
Yep. I
That
didn't think
worried
anything
me.
of it. Fuck. Oh, Steve's in trouble. Steve's in trouble. And again, Nancy's a little too close to Steve for comfort right now, in my opinion. I'm
She's ride or die diving into the friggin' pit for him. Oh my god, yeah.
that's LUV. That is fucking real love shit. And I love Team Jonathan. I don't know why. I just feel like I don't like when you're with someone and then you cheat on him with the old lover while he's gone. It just feels something dirty about that.
Yeah.
But fuck, man, that's definitely. Oh man, Steve, I'm sorry, dude. And again, Jonathan, I'm kind of getting like, just smoke weed out in Cali and do your fucking thing. Just break up
Yeah.
with her. And Nancy with the fucking puppy dog eyes. Oh,
Uh,
god damn, Ron.
yeah. The heat lamps on a locker, the torture they were doing that Lieutenant Sanders was doing to that like one guy trying to get the information about 11, and he's like, just like please promise me you won't kill her. Brutal torture. I never even like saw that in a movie before, but oh my god, that was brutal.
It was fucked up. I wrote in this like early in this, I wrote 11 storyline is boring. Turned out not really to be the case. But by the way, going back to those bats real quick, I forgot about this. When they're talking about the Ozzy Osbourne, he's like, Ozzy Osbourne. And I was like, I was going to write, ask Bob if that's metal. And then he says, that was metal. And I was like, oh, the metal fucking rankings made it to the fucking
I
big
had
screen.
that written down. Ozzy biting the head off a bat. Clem, do you know the story behind that Ozzy tells, like why that happened, basically?
So it flew on stage while he was performing. Did he know it was a bat? And
So he thought it was rubber. There was
that's
a
right.
Ozzy tour where he would throw intestines and gross like rubber guts and stuff at the crowd. So eventually the crowd started bringing stuff to throw back, and among this was like lamb testicles, sheep balls, raw chickens, gross stuff like that, dead mice. Someone at one point throws a bat up on stage. He picks it up thinking it's a rubber bat because apparently it like wasn't moving a ton. Bites the head off of it. Blood gushes everywhere, and
Oh,
he in his mind he was like, "Oh my god!" But then he kind of milked it for like, "I'm the fucking most metal guy of all time."
and that's how you become like the guy who bit the head off the bat, the face of metal, all that
Boom.
kind of stuff. Gotta love how it works out.
Yeah, that's so. There you go. Shout out Ozzy Osbourne, one of the goats. He's also, if you've seen The Dirt or read the book, the guy who once snorted a line of ants off the ground. Just disgusting.
It's disgusting.
Absolutely. Just yeah. And speaking of that, the one note I had for this episode: too many bugs.
Don't leave.
Too many bugs.
Don't show Bob Fox bugs. Don't leave Bob Fox bugs to kill when you go away for work. Don't do any of that. Bob Fox doesn't like bugs. We're not a bug podcast.
Not a bug podcast. I don't like that. I loved, on the other hand, Hopper's line, or I think it was, no, it wasn't Hopper's line. It was someone else's line. Maybe Dustin, about the Demogorgon being a foot soldier and Vecna being the 5-star general for the Mind Flayer. When they start putting it together that this is all connected, we said earlier on in one of these recaps, like, are they going to connect it to the earlier seasons? The way they connected it, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. This, like you said, made the previous seasons better by how fluid it all came together.
Yeah, and I was talking to our boy Hubs about this. I was texting with him, and he's like, "How much of this stuff did they write? How much of this stuff did they kind of go? Did they make it up as they go?" And I never know that in general with stuff. I know Lost was infamous for just throwing shit against the wall and trying to fix stuff as they went along. But I'm like, if they fucking had this from day one and kind of had an idea, again, a whiteboard, Kevin Feige style, I mean, it really does make everything that much better. And I was like, are we ever going to kind of get an idea of what exactly happens with the Upside Down? Because as we see at the end of this episode, we learn a lot more about what happened. Excuse me. But I feel like we're going to get everything we want, basically, which is fucking awesome. You don't get that in a show with this much depth. And at this point, damn, I think I have like
He's turning into
disease.
Vecna. You're like,
hello. But I love how fucking deep and like enriching it is. And I feel like, and again, there's like the Mind Flayer kind of looks like a spider, right? Which kind of goes into something else there, which like, again, that's the kind of shit where I'm like, you said it last episode. This is kind of getting up. I'm not putting it on like tier 1 with The Wire, Breaking Bad and stuff, but it's moving up the power ranking. It's moving up the tiers quickly with how well they're doing in season 4, which, by the way, I don't think a lot of people realize this. I'm pretty sure there's a season 5 coming, right?
There is. Yeah, this is not the final season, which I tweeted. It makes me nervous because this is so good that I'm like, this should be the final season. Go off on this amazing, amazing season, and that could be it. But the next season, it's like, oh God, you're throwing the dice again. It's like, can we do it a 5th time?
Yeah, the 20 side die too, Hellfire Club style, right? It's a lot of different ways this can go. And kind of with WandaVision, we're like, they kind of could have wrapped this up in maybe an episode shorter or so, And I hope they don't do that with a season. But again, in the Duffer Brothers, we trust at this point.
And we were talking about how ridiculous some of the runtimes looked before the season began. Like the final episode of this season's like 2.5 hours over that something.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we're here at the end of part 1, I'm like, all right, no, I get it. There's a lot to wrap up at this point that you could wrap up in 2 final episodes that are just super long. The Demogorgon rampage in this scene was amazing in this episode where he just rips apart a bunch of prisoners. His head wraps around their head, eats them apart. Hopper gets the flame and starts, trying to poke at it. The flame looks like it starts going out, and you're like, oh my God, is that flame going to go out on this guy? Great reunion between him and Joyce. Super emotional, the way that they both played it with their faces. I love that. And then I loved the bike riding scene. Stranger Things, I mean, is not complete without a group bike riding scene. And the shot of them riding their bikes, and then it flips around and it's in the upside down, and they're going to the trailer in the upside down like 7 miles. And like, I think we set a world record for most distance traveled interdimensionally. It was a good line. And I mean, I'll save the ending for I guess later.
The older kids riding bikes upside down. I thought you were going to say this yourself, Bob. It's like poetry. It rhymes. Like obviously, we meet the young kids. They're riding the bikes a lot, and now the older kids are doing it at a time where they're probably not the same age as the kids are in the regular world, but it's probably pretty close in terms of years ago and finding out how the time changes, right? Where it's the Wheeler's house, it's her old stuff on her bed, all that. So some fucking really cool shit that we're learning with the Upside Down. And I had that pegged pretty quick. I was like, oh, wait, This is from like years ago,
Me
and I
too.
realized it's the day like Will basically disappears or something like that. Which actually, there was another point I'm going to make, but we'll save that for the end. I've been outspoken as hating basically most of the Hopper stuff in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
That fight scene made it all worth it. That was
amazing.
That was one of my favorite fight scenes in like a TV show ever. I fucking was geeking out about it. And again, with a Demogorgon, you're not really thinking there's gonna be that much fun wiggle room for stuff. It was awesome. It was awesomely brutal. And you really, like, I figured Hopper was going to survive, but you don't know what's going to happen with our boy, the many-faced gods. And just the way it all went down, the whole thing where it's like, nothing worse is when you're like, all right, I have one ace in the hole right now. And his ace in the hole was fire. And that shit wasn't, the lighter wasn't lighting. And he's just like, fuck. And then it was always
God,
like,
I've been there when you poop, 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 poop.
when you're shaking the lighter fluid, hoping something's going to come out, right? Yeah. So I loved that fight scene. I thought it was great. I even got
CGI was amazing too. Like, right? Not for a moment did it look wonky. The whole time I was like, holy shit, what was the budget on this episode?
Again, not at all. I don't know if CGI is good or bad. That one felt like it was fucking awesome.
So natural.
Yeah, it felt extremely.
If you don't notice it being bad, it's good.
Yeah, that's the perfect way to put it. It's like an umpire in baseball, right? You don't know about the umpire, you know it's good. The vibes I got when they were all loading up their weapons and stuff was Gladiator, when they're getting ready to go face, and you're facing like the tiger or something like that.
Gladiator.
And my note here is vibe of a fight versus creature reminds me of Gladiator. Gladiator fucking ruled. So did the fight. Like, that's all you got to say, man. It was awesome. And it, like, again, it did seem like they were dragging a bunch, but between that and, like you said, when he looks up and he sees Winona, she looks down, and just like that facial expression, it was fucking awesome, man.
Awesome.
They landed everything. They landed everything on this. I'm terrified about because I know they're going to bring it back. What was under Lucas's bed? Because it was fucking disgusting. Yeah. And I have Chekhov's cum sock.
What could it be?
Chekhov's cum sock has now entered the fucking world, and we're going to find it.
Cum sock? You think that's why he was embarrassed?
I don't think it's just.
I don't know what it could have been.
But what could it have been, right?
Also, are they making cum sock jokes in the show? I guess they would. It's so violent that kids aren't watching it, right?
Yeah.
Show about kids, but not for kids.
It is weird, though, to be talking about like he's like a freshman in high school, like right out talking about him beating off, but like, fuck, like hormones are running through your body long before you're a freshman.
Sock. That's funny. That's funny.
We'll name this episode Chekhov's cum sock. I'll title the blog that.
All right, now let's get into the ending. This is crazy because we get a reveal after reveal after reveal. This fuckface from the asylum starts talking to 11, and we start slowly realizing that he is one. And this was the reveal that me and my girlfriend started piecing together on the couch, and we were like, oh my God, is he one? They said, you don't know what happened to one, and blah, blah, blah. He shows the tattoo on his wrist, and we get kind of a flashback sequence there. They start to break out because he says all of the kids are planning to kill you, too, and the friends, and Pop is going to let it happen. He's been letting it happen over the past few weeks. And one has like a little thing in his neck, and she takes it out, a little chip.
Inhibitor.
That basically like depowered him. It what do they call that in video games? It nerfed him.
Yeah.
And once she takes it out, he goes on a fucking rampage. And you realize now, oh my God, not only is he number one, this isn't the only reveal of the end of the episode. He's the fucking one that killed everyone. And he put it on 11. But as it's happening, I'm also thinking like, but 11's eyes were bleeding. So how is that going to come down? She goes into the room. They start talking. He reveals the whole backstory. Another reveal. He's the son of Victor Creel. Oh my God. They're just boom, boom, boom. Like Gotti Ward on my shirt. They're hitting you in the face with reveals right now. You don't see coming. And then the most shocking reveal of all. He is Vecna. And basically, this is like an origin story. I said it was almost Harry Potter-esque. I know you're not a Harry Potter guy. I wasn't a Harry Potter guy till earlier this year. But it's like Harry was the boy who lived, and Voldemort's been trying to get back ever since. Kind of similar to that because they fight. 11's eyes start bleeding, and she, instead of thinking about something that angers her, saddens her, thinks about love, thinks about her mother, thinks about like actual friendship and happy feelings and whatnot. And that helps defeat him. He's up against the wall. He goes flying into the upside down, flipping up and down. and then hit by lightning, lightning, lightning. He turns into Vecna right before our eyes. And the actor that's been playing him has been this guy all season. If you look at his eyes, it's crazy, but it is him. It's definitely him.
Oh
And
shit.
it's an unbelievable reveal. And I think the end, like they zoom in on his arm, and he's got the one tattoo. I was also thinking as I was watching that, like, oh my God, no way would kids sit for a wrist tattoo as calmly as they are at that scene.
That's actually a very fair point. I basically became the collector in Infinity War. I was like, magnificent, magnificent. Once you get the whole reveal, he's telling it all and he's explaining it. And he's doing his he's monologuing, right? Is that what they call it in the Incredibles?
Amazing actor too. He's a fuckface, but amazing actor.
That's my note. Fuckface is Vecna. What a story being Creel's son. He's sick fuck. He's killing the animals, which is like so twisted. Like anyone who kills like little cute rabbits. I'm a rabbit guy too. I think I've said that.
I used to have one.
Oh, really? We had rabbits too, but I had them in like my yard as well, and I always just like stare at them. I just love them, and like the fact he's just crunching bones the way that he did and popping eyeballs. Sick. That's to his mom, his own fucking mother.
And that's a brutal scene too with the
his
mom.
Sister. Does his sister get the same treatment, or does she just get killed?
Sister gets killed,
and he gets the quote unquote coma, which I was like, oh, that's right, he's in the coma. So it all comes together, and there's a lot of people figuring out like, does he start? He doesn't start haunting in. Or at least he doesn't come back doing this stuff until 11 loses her powers. So he definitely obviously is scared of her. And obviously we have to learn more about how the Upside Down, what it is, how it got created, how much of this was already there in this alternate world, or if sending him there, like turn it to this really evil place. And again, 11, she's fucking back. We need to have her face Vader at this point. Like, go fuck that guy up. She opened the gate. She's fucking up dudes that are like super villains or whatever. And it was worth the buildup because this was another storyline that I was like, all right, we're back to the fucking school again. I know there was this awful shit that happened. And then our boy fucking Vecna, he was looking like Anakin on Mustafar.
Yeah.
By the time she was done with him, that was awesome. I was the exact vibe.
It's a good comparison, yeah.
Right. And then after all this, my sweet Nancy is in the Upside Down, and I do not like it at all. The only thing that makes me feel all right is that Robin found her favorite music tapes when they kind of like went to her house. So I do feel like that's a potential Easter egg there that's going to come back to us. And the only other note,
Steve is going to sacrifice himself for her.
Yeah, there's a lot of theories about that, and I really feel like I can't take back all the things I said and wished upon Steve. But this feels like we're going to be getting it. I'm not feeling too good about it right now at all.
Yeah.
I don't feel good about it. And there's also apparently clocks in every season. If you go back, like there was a TikTok I saw about it where it's like Will is when Will gets like abducted, you hear like a clock. There's a clock, I think in season 2 when someone gets taken. A lot of clock stuff. We get a Barb appearance. Barb is fucking back. That was crazy, man. That was fucking nuts. And then there was like this little part 2 trailer, which was like, oh shit, we're getting like a little
quick 30-second one, yeah.
And the only other note I had is Dustin and his mom remind me of the wholesome Indiana version of Cartman and Mrs. Cartman.
I can see that, yeah. Right? Especially his like sweet mom, yeah.
Yeah, she's the best. Oh, and I also love seeing the lights on the other side of the Upside Down when they're playing with the lights.
That was the version that we got, the season 4 version of the Christmas lights. I feel like the Light Bright when they broke that out, and it was like, oh shit, a Light Bright. I never had one, but I always would watch like all the different Nickelodeon channels, and they always had the commercials for them, and I always thought they looked so cool. But I remember my brother and sister telling me like they got one, and they were like, there was never enough colored pegs to make any of the pictures you saw in the commercial.
My exact notes here: Light Bright, fun in theory, not in execution. It always looked so cool on like Nickelodeon, like Double Dare would always be like a prize.
Exactly.
And then you got it. You can either like follow, like you get like a piece of paper and follow like the directions, like put a red here, put an orange here to make it look like the clown or whatever. Yeah. And that shit sucked. Or
the clown's like the first thing that came to mind for me too. That's like what everyone thinks of with the Light Bright.
Everyone had the clown Light Bright, and the song was fire. Light bright, light bright. So that was another nostalgia pang. And trust me, everyone who didn't grow up kind of sucked. I have a Light Bright. I bought one here like online, and I was like, the kids aren't going to like this. They're just going to probably swallow some of the pegs. Not worth it.
That was the Stranger Things Part 1 finale recap, things we would have tweeted. Leave your favorite moment in the comments below. Favorite moment of this had to be the reveal for me. How could it not be? Just reveal after reveal. It's like, holy shit. So well done. Like you said, bravo to the Duffer brothers. They were in their bag this season. And I can't wait till July 1st. I think that's when it comes back, right?
Yep, July 1st. So we'll be back. We'll do a preview with KFC. I'm going to make my call now. I'm going to say it on that one as well. Will's going to play a huge role in this because he's done absolutely nothing. That
True.
goddamn painting, I keep thinking it's going to be like Vince Vaughn. It's going to be Michael with the Vince Vaughn looking, homo things with the leaf over his privates. But if it's not, it might be some like shit that gets us there. And there's some big brand vibes I'm getting here where he makes no sense. I'm calling it the Will Wagon. The Will Wagon's going to play a huge role. I don't know how.
Maybe he's going to do that thing again where it's like, and then it's like the Raven, like he sees someone.
Yep. These sickly boys are always saving the day at the end, whether it's Bran or Will. But yeah, completely worth it. My favorite scene, if I can't use like Vecna's reveal, it'll be the Demogorgon fight. Those two,
yeah, true.
Like 10 out of 10, awesome landings on both ends and made everything worth it along the way. And again, those might have been the two dragging stories, but everything else was good along the way. And then they landed both of those storylines perfectly. Cannot wait for part 2.
Can't wait. Tune in to My Mom's Basement, the podcast feed, as well for a part 2 preview with KFC. Like we said, it'll be on YouTube as well, but it'll be on both. So check it out there. And thank you for tuning in on part 1. We'll do these for part 2 as well. We'll bring back the little quick hitters.
Hell yeah.